Getting into an Ivy League college, getting into shape, or starting a small business. People often find themselves setting lofty goals, and it's no biggie. Everyone does it. I've done it myself, and I'm sure you have too. But I recently read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and oh boy, I've learned that goals alone are stupid. Instead of goals, you need to learn how to do this. Focus on systems. Instead of being goal-oriented, you need to learn to be system-oriented. It is this principle that I've applied in my own life to grow my YouTube channels and win the International Science and Engineering Fair. And today, I'll share with you what I've learned. But before we can ditch goals altogether and focus on systems, we first have to still set goals. We just can't focus on them. This is why the first step of this process is still to set specific, actionable goals. Let's say you're a student whose goal is to do well at school. Now, some students might be a step ahead and say, oh, well, my goal is to get all A's this semester. Now, that student is doing good, but is not quite there. A better goal would be to get all A's this semester by studying for 2 hours every day after school, consistently completing all of your assignments on time, and reviewing the key material before taking quizzes or tests. Now, this is a specific actionable goal that you can actually track and measure for success. But remember, goals alone are stupid. You can't just focus on the outcome, you have to focus on the process that it takes to get there. And that's where systems come in. A system is a set of routines and habits that you follow consistently in order to achieve your goals. Now, let's say our goal was still to get all A's this semester in school. Well, a system for this could be 1. Setting a fixed time and place to study every day. 2. Using a Pomodoro timer to stay focused and take breaks. And 3. Reviewing your notes and flashcards regularly. These are actions and habits that we can actually follow over time and judge ourselves to see if we did them properly. Even if you just forget about your goal and focus only on this system, I guarantee the person who focuses more on their system will be more likely to get an A this semester than the person who just set their goal that way. These are the actions that ultimately will make the goal happen. In fact, if you have 2 students, one who just sets a really high goal and another person who enacts a system without even having a goal in mind, the person who sets the system will probably get the A. Now, to make our goal even more likely to happen, we can crystallize the system into a habit. It's something that kind of becomes a part of your identity, like brushing your teeth in the morning and the night. You don't even have to think about it. Or going for a run right after coming from work. Now, to form a habit, you need 3 things: a cue, a routine, and my favorite, the reward. Now, your cue is something that kind of triggers the behavior. So in my case, every night, once I turn the lights off, it's time to meditate for 5 minutes. And so the cue ultimately just becomes the act of turning the lights off. Every time I go to sleep and I turn off the lights, I remember, okay, I need to meditate. And it's just kind of built in as a cue for me. Now, your routine is the behavior itself. It's the action that you want to make into a habit. Now, this might be studying for 2 hours, but it's a little bit more complex because in the routine, you need to have a plan of how you're accomplishing the actual action as well. So it's not just studying for 2 hours, it's checking your flashcards and revising notes for 45 minutes, and then taking a practice exam for 75 minutes. Now onto the reward, which I mentioned was my favorite part. This reward can be extrinsic or intrinsic, meaning, for some people it could be getting to watch an episode of your favorite TV show after studying. Or in my case, I'm not much of a TV or movie fan, and I'm not really like a foodie either that I would reward myself with ice cream or something like that. So for me, I honestly just feel good after completing whatever I wanted to do. And it's more of an intrinsic type of motivation. So by repeating this pathway of cue, routine, reward, cue, routine, reward over time, you strengthen these pathways, these neural pathways in your brain. Eventually, your brain just associates this pathway with the outcome or with the special dopamine you get from it. Eventually, the behavior becomes kind of automatic and effortless to the point where you don't really need to think about it. And that's how you can achieve your goal without relying on things like willpower or motivation. You just kind of end up doing the thing because it's who you are. It's your identity. For me, I'm a researcher. I'm also a YouTuber, and I have kind of these systems in place to turn my goals into reality, and I'm truly able to encompass these identities. So instead of obsessing over the goal, focus on the system. Now, I think you'll really enjoy the next video on the screen about the benefits of standing up while working or while studying. So I'd go urge you to watch that next.